Andrew, why don't you fill us in? What are your thoughts on Urban Meyer being the head man in Jacksonville?
I know a lot of people agree with it. A lot of people like Urban's pedigree. A lot of people like what Urban did in college. Personally, I don't. I think about the situation. A lot of people have looked at the situation, comparing his situation, comparing the situation with the Jets and comparing that to the situation in Jacksonville. And I get it. He's going to get the number one pick. They do have a lot of leverage. They're going to be able to draft Sunshine. But the issue that I have with it is just that he's been out of coaching for so long. He's not proven at the NFL level. As we've seen, dude, the college game is a lot different than the NFL game. You know, the college game is not the same. Nick Saban, Big Daddy Saban, the GOAT of college football coaches, he couldn't crack it in the NFL. And Urban Meyer, even though Urban Meyer does have a very good track record, I don't know how it's going to be. With this news just broke today that he became the coach. And, he has a lot of guys that are in the NFL right now. A lot of guys are pulling for him. They want to see their guy succeed. I don't think in Jacksonville, though, I don't think it's going to be anything it's not going to be anything great in Jacksonville. I would hate to see, his legacy as a coach get tarnished because of his tenure in Jacksonville, but we're going to have to wait and see, because the only reason why nobody brings up Saban's failure in the NFL is because what did Saban do after he left the NFL? He went on to win how many national championships in a 12-year span at Bama? So Urban doesn't have that. Urban left the college game because he had health issues. Now he's coming back to coach the NFL.
Yeah. And I think that's the question. How long is it going to last? Because he's left college football twice now. He left to Florida because he had health issues. He obviously left at Ohio State a few years ago because he had health issues. So the question is going to be, how long is he going to last in this position? And, and not only that are the Jags going to be worthwhile enough for him to stick around? Do you think Urban Meyer is actually going to be able to withstand this rebuild likely that's going to happen in Jacksonville, because they have the number one pick and they have some they have some good talent around this team. James Robinson, undrafted free agent, came out of nowhere, and he's a 1,000-yard rusher. I think he should be up there for Rookie of the Year, as one of those guys at Rookie of the Year, but I doubt he'll get any votes because that's how the NFL is. Minshew didn't get any last year. He's likely not going to get any this year. Fuck Jacksonville, I guess. But the question is, how long will he last? Do you see him staying here through the rebuild, 2-3 years?
I think maybe they'll give him two to three just to see what could happen. A lot of it's going to, just remember, I don't even think Urban's going to be doing a lot of the drafting, because remember, they have the owner who has been a pretty good scout when it comes to drafting outside of Blake Bortles. He likes to scout the players. He likes to go to the combine. He likes to say, I like that guy. So it'll be interesting to see whether he gives Urban, who has had a lot more time with a lot of these kids coming out, working at Fox Sports and watching the games and everything, watching these kids. It'll be interesting to see what he lets Urban do. I don't see Urban lasting too long, though. I mean, clearly the number one pick, you know who it's going to be. So he's going to have that. They can't really get that one wrong. But I mean, for long-term success, remember, Jacksonville doesn't have much, dude. Just how many years removed are they from being Saxonville? And they are not even a shell of what they once were. The defense is horrible outside of CJ Henderson, who's a promising young corner. They have a lot of work to do. And Urban, it's not even though Urban did coach a lot of stars in the NFL, these guys are going to get paid, and not many of those guys, he coached a lot of the Bosas. He coached I think he was one of the guys responsible for recruiting Chase Young. So he coached a lot of these guys, but they're not just going to drop their winning situations to go play for him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see him lasting too long in the rebuild. And he's going to have Trevor Lawrence. Whatever players they draft this year and next year, he's going to have those guys. They already have Robinson. They have CJ Henderson, the promising young corner, but I don't think it's going to last that long, though. Chark's another one. Yeah. I just don't see it, I don't see it. I mean, clearly it's going to be an upgrade from what we had this year. They're probably going to win more games this year, but remember, dude, that's a tough division he's going to.
Look,
Tennessee's on the rise.
I'm just saying. I mean, I doubt that. Yeah, they're probably going to do better than they are this year. They were one of the worst teams in football last year. Actually, the worst team in football, one of the worst teams of all time last year. They went 1-15. So, that's not a question. Are they going to do better? I think, they get a quarterback, a franchise guy, whether it's Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence, we'll talk about, but because there's that Ohio State connection. But I do think that, I think this is less of a rebuild though than people think. I think this is probably going to be a quick turnaround for this team because it's not just, and yes, they are in a hard division, but I do think that the offensive talent, specifically on this team, if they get a franchise quarterback, it can overcome a lot of the defensive areas where they lack. And you said Henderson's coming on the come up in that cornerback position. If they draft well, which Tony Khan and Shad Khan have been known to do, I think, and plus we have Urban Meyer's expertise about college drafting, and he knows what to see and he knows what to look out for. So I think they're going to be fine as far as next year and 2 years from now. But are they going to be that championship level team in just a few years, which is what you need if you're Urban Meyer, because you've done it all in college football. You've won 3 national championships. You've won all the coaches of the year. You've had your quarterbacks drafted in the first round. He's done it all. He's the reason Tim Tebow was a first-round draft pick. Urban Meyer made Tim Tebow, who loved the man to death, incapable of throwing the football past 10 yards downfield. He made him a first-round draft pick. So I think Urban Meyer is coming in not just to win and prove that he can do it in the NFL, but to win a championship. And yes, with the Jaguars. But I think that this team needs to, I think the most important thing is they need to draft well this year on defense. They got to find some gems in the later rounds. And will they do that? I think they're able to. But the question is really, how is Shad Khan, Tony Khan, and Urban Meyer's relationship going to be? How is that going to play out? Because we know that the Khans, they like to have control over their team. They like to sustain control because that's what they do. Because Tony Khan, he runs his own analytical firm that's used for all over the sports world. It's actually kind of crazy. There's like 5 MLB teams who use his firm. I think there's like football, soccer teams that use his firm as well. So, it's going to be interesting. I don't know how that relationship is going to play out, but I think if they draft well and if they are on the same page, which I assume they are because Urban took the job, but I think they're going to have some sustained success. But the question is, now that Urban Meyer, former Ohio State guy, former head coach of Ohio State, never coached Justin Fields, I don't think, but still got that Ohio State connection, do you see them taking Fields over Lawrence at number 1?
I don't, only because it's too much of a risk. I love Justin Fields. I've been the biggest supporter of Justin Fields, but with all the hype that's been around Trevor Lawrence, it's one of those situations where, if you don't take Trevor Lawrence and Trevor Lawrence ends up going to another franchise and doing well, it'll be one of those he was the obvious pick, and we were telling you he was the obvious pick and you didn't listen to us. So that's why I think it's going to end up being Trevor Lawrence. Urban's not going to have much of a say. And I've heard Urban is he's praised Trevor Lawrence for a lot of his intangibles, what he does on the field. So I think Urban and Trevor Lawrence are going to get along great. Justin Fields, I love Justin Fields. I don't think Justin Fields is going to go number 1 just based off of the showing you had in the national championship. Now, mind you, Alabama did that to everybody. I don't, I have a thing against Clemson. Listen, as much, I don't think Clemson's defense could have done. I think they would have done. I think Ohio State might have been the best defense, probably one of the best defenses Alabama was going to see all year. And they have first round DBs that couldn't cover Devontae Smith. So
right.
That was just one of those teams that comes around every how many years where you have a generational running back and a generational wideout on the same team. Really wasn't much that was going to happen. So
yeah, I
In
agree.
terms of Urban, time is going to tell. I'm rooting for him. One of the stats that people like to bring up is that his first year at Utah, he took Utah before he got there, took them first year 9-3, the next year 11-0, quote unquote national champions when he had Alex Smith. He took the Ohio State job, year before 6-7, next year 12-0. If not for the sanctions that were placed on Ohio State because of the prior regime, they probably would have played for the national championship. So he does have a track record of taking below, organizations or teams that, have potential. He does have the ability to turn them around like that. So we're going to see what happens with Urban, though, because the NFL is different. Big Daddy Saban couldn't crack it in the NFL. So we'll see what Urban can do. Might be different.
Hey, guys. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. For more content,
please hit that notification bell, comment, subscribe, and everything like that. And just remember, keep it real.